Hi everyone. The research question that I decided to focus on is how the healthcare industry has been affected by cyber attacks and breaches in between the years of 2009 and 2015. Um, the healthcare industry is very critical to the everyday person because we're trusting our healthcare providers and insurance companies with our personal information, our personal health information, and I think it's critical that we know that our information is safe. And unfortunately, over the course of the last 10 years, with the evolution of technology, there's been a significant increase in the amount of cyber breaches, cyber attacks in the healthcare industry overall. Also, I mean, the healthcare industry isn't the only industry that's affected by cyber breaches and attacks. It's businesses in general, because the evolution of the technology has become so advanced that that it's become easier and easier for hackers to breach into other companies databases. So it's become critical for all businesses to have the systems in place to prevent these cyber attacks. I'm gonna focus the industry I'm gonna focus on in my video is and for the midterm is the healthcare industry. When I was looking for data related to cyber breaches in the healthcare industry, I found it a little difficult to find the right data. I think you just have to be persistent and in looking for your data. I mean, it may not be there in your initial search on Google, or but it's there, and you just have to continue looking for it, and you will find it. You will find the data. After about 2 hours or so of searching on Google, I located a database related to the healthcare industry. That within that database, I had the cyber attacks in the healthcare industry. Data on the healthcare industry related to cyber attacks that in between the years of 2009 and 2015. So what I did was I took that data, which is on an Excel doc, and I converted it into Tableau, as displayed above. It's displayed on the screen, and then from that data, I pulled out and created 6 charts, and 6 charts, and to display how the healthcare industry has been affected by these cyber breaches and attacks, and also not just the companies have been affected, but also the amount of individuals that have been affected by these cyber attacks. So, with the first chart of breaches per state, what I did was I took the state state from the dimensions tab on the left side, and then I dragged it into the columns, and then I also took the number of records, which in this case is a number of breaches that have taken place in between the years of 2009 and 2015, and I dropped it into the rows column, and then this chart. And then it displayed this chart, which separates the amount of breaches that took place in each state across the United States. And then what I did was for the next chart is that I took similarly I dropped the state into the columns. And then I took the number of records and dropped it into the rows. And then Tableau converted it into longitude and latitude. What longitude and latitude is that essentially converted the amount of breaches that took place per state, and it converted it into a map and it based on the amount of breaches that happened per state. It displays a larger or smaller circle. For the more breaches there were, the larger the circle there was in the state, and for the fewer breaches there were, the smaller the circle displayed in the state. Another critical aspect of cyber breaches in the healthcare industry are the individuals that are affected by these cyber attacks. For us as consumers, I think it's critical to note that the amount of people that were affected by these cyber attacks within the database of these companies, and I think it's something very important to keep in mind. So as displayed on this chart displays the amount of individuals that were affected per state by cyber breaches that took place within the company that held their information. And then I took for this next chart, I took the time frame, which was the breach submission date, and the covered entity type, which in this case is the type of healthcare company that was holding information, and then I took the number of records, which in this case is again the number of times that these companies were breached, and I converted it into an individual timeline for each of these types of healthcare industry, each of the types of companies in the healthcare industry, and I displayed the timeline of the number of when these breaches, when the amount of breaches that took place from the time in between 2009 and 2015 for each individual companies. And you can see on this chart of where each of the amount of breaches where it peaked for each of the companies, and where the low was, and where the lows and where the dips were for each of these companies. I think this chart really displays when the healthcare industry really has become more and more affected by cyber attacks So another aspect of cyber attacks in general is that there are multiple ways for hackers to try to steal information from a company. So as displayed below, I displayed five, six, seven different types of attacks that took place in the healthcare industry. So displayed below are just the different types. So, for example, there's hacking, improper disposal, and loss of information, and theft of information. These are just all different terms for how information could be taken from a company. I think it's very important for companies to note that there are multiple ways for hackers to try to steal information from the company's database. It's not limited to one type of breach. There are many different ways that hackers can try to take information from, and I think it's important for companies to take note, because they can't just put a singular system. They have to make sure their system that's protecting their database with all their information for the company is fully protected from all these from all the types of potential cyber breaches. The last chart that I created was a time frame for the overall time frame of the amount of cyber attacks that have taken place in between the years of 2009 and 2015. These are all the types of, these are all the companies in the healthcare industry. These are not different from the previous chart, which was separated by company. This is a chart that just displays just the healthcare industry overall. So from the years in between the years of 2009 and 2015, I think overall the healthcare industry really saw a peak in these cyber attacks in around the years of in between the years of 2012 and 2014. And I couldn't stress enough that the healthcare industry is very important to all of us, and I think it's important for us to take notice that these attacks have become more and more common in general because of the evolution of technology. And I think it's important for us to ask our company, what are you going to do to help protect our information, so in order to prevent these cyber attacks from taking our own personal information.